Good evening, everyone. I'm looking forward to this new format of a studio recital. I can see all of you here, which is great. I'm super excited that we were able to actually reach you guys in a virtual capacity and still have this studio recital that was actually on the books for this day, for this very time, but of course in a live, actually in a recital hall kind of format. But as we had all of these sudden changes come in March, I said, okay, I've got to find some way for my students to still be able to perform and show what they've been working on this semester. So as we go through, I'm going to show you a lot of videos and talk to you about how these were created and kind of the story behind them. Please feel free to leave some comments. I'll be checking them and responding to them. So even though it's just me talking, you can still talk to me and go ahead and tell me what you're feeling, what you're thinking, those sorts of things. If you're watching from far away and don't know who I am Kristen Leitterman. I do teach oboe here at Arkansas State University. And I've got these wonderful oboe and bassoon students that I've been working with this semester that I am excited to share their work with you. So without further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started with our very first video. All right, so wasn't that great? So you just heard Levi McGrew and Ryan Sowell. Both of them are freshmen. Levi actually is a trumpet music education major who just took up oboe starting in the fall, and so I'm very proud of the work he's done. Ryan is also a freshman and he's a bassoon performance major. So I thought I'd tell you a little bit about just the way that this whole project came about and what you exactly just heard. That was actually one of our Barret progressive melodies. There's 40 of them for oboe. And it's kind of one of our standard etudes that we actually learn from as oboists. And the really neat thing is that Barret included a bass line, so it makes it really easy to actually have chamber music while learning some very valuable melodic content on the oboe. And as I was talking with my students and trying to figure out exactly how we were going to proceed with this, I gave them a couple options. I said, we can continue with the music that you were preparing, which all of them, it was something with piano, or we could do a collaborative remote chamber music project where you guys are playing chamber music together. And that was what widely won out as the favorable way to proceed. And so that's how I came to having them learn the Barret And there, like I said, there's 40 of these different short little melodic etudes, and are perfect for this sort of situation. So we're going to go through a number of these that many of them have worked on for us. And so we're going to go ahead and go to the next one, which is melody number 3. And we've got Kiri McMann and we've got Sophia Crisel both playing melody number 3 for you. All right, so like I said, you just heard Kiri and Sophie playing melody number 3. And one awesome thing I would tell about these two students is Kiri is actually bridging this gap between homeschool and college, and she has come into the oboe studio this semester and just really taken charge of her oboe progress, and I've been having so much fun working with her, as well as reed making as well. And Sophie is a freshman bassoon performance major as well, and working with her this semester has been also just a joy. So this remote chamber music project has been very interesting and very fun to kind of get the students involved in. As far as this remote chamber music in general, it's this concept that has been kind of permeating the world right now, especially with musicians, because one joy that we generally get from music is that we are playing with others. It's not all about being alone and playing ourselves. It's really about engaging with the other person that is giving us musical signals as well. And so the ability to have this remote chamber music possibility is pretty awesome. There's a couple ways to do it. You can do it with, many people, or you can have what I consider like a true remote chamber music experience, which is where you are playing chamber music with yourself. So a lot of my videos that I've posted recently have been remote chamber music with myself, and I've learned a lot doing that, and I will talk about that soon. But one of my students decided to take that on and do Barret melody number 4 as true remote chamber music. And that was Sergio Rodriguez. He's one of our senior oboe students, and he chose to play both parts on oboe and added the additional kind of difficulty by taking the bass clef part and trying to read it and basically transpose it into treble clef. So without further ado, we have Sergio Rodriguez playing Barret melody number 4. Isn't it fun to see the same person playing a piece together with themselves? I can tell you I've had a lot of fun over the past few weeks, figuring out video editing software, but also figuring out just how to play chamber music with myself. It's not as easy as it may sound when you're hearing a video, but what's really awesome about it, and really what led me to this be the possibility for the project, was that there's so many educational opportunities here. It really allows you as a musician to really hone how you're using your ears, because now you've taken away most of the visual cues that you typically get from your chamber music partners, and instead you are really relying on your ears, and you have to take it to a level above of just listening and hearing, but being able to actually anticipate what's going to happen before the yourself or the other person that has recorded something does it. And that's a difficulty that certainly every musician comes across, and this is a good way I think I've found for students to really work on this. So this is something that I probably will continue even if we're teaching in person, because I think it's a really valuable project. So I'm going to bring up back up Levi and Ryan, and they're going to perform for you Barret Melody number 5. Isn't that one of the cutest little Barret etudes? It's probably one of my favorite to play and teach. Anytime one of my students gets to that etude, I'm always having so much fun. It's almost like you're just kind of floating in air. So, I was talking about the educational benefits from doing this, and talking about, hearing really having to be hyped up through this. There's other things that are very educational through this. Phrasing and other musical details are very important, and also tempo. And so we were using our studio class to kind of start these discussions. Who's going to record first? Is someone going to have a retard or a little bit of time or speed up somewhere? And if so, you have to be aware of those in discussion, because sometimes that anticipation is not possible. And so you have to have an idea what's going to happen, so that then you can be ready to move when it's needed. So we spent a couple studio classes just discussing these sorts of things, and I would listen to them play and make sure that their duo partner knew what was happening. So we are going to move on to Barret Etude number 6, and we're bringing back Kiri and Sophie to play this beautiful etude. All right, so that's another one that I really love, and honestly, I love just about all of these etudes, but that one's also a very nice one. It's the first one that's kind of longer. A lot of the earlier etudes are actually have repeats within them, and this is, I think, the first one that doesn't have a repeat, so it is a little bit longer for the students. So I'm sure that some of you are kind of wondering how these videos are made and just what goes into things like this. So again, I was a complete novice about 3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks ago. I had no idea how any of these were made. And honestly, I had sent a message to a friend that I knew had done some videos like this and said, what do you use? How can I do this? And so he had told me about acapella, and so I had downloaded it and immediately saw the limitations, and it wasn't quite what I wanted. So then I started using iMovie and realized it had limitations, and came to Adobe Rush and Adobe Premiere Pro, which is both in the Creative Cloud Suite, which luckily here at A-State I have access to as a faculty member. And so I just kind of, through some tutorials through YouTube and just playing around with it, figured out how to do things. And so the process is that students will, one student for these duets will record a video, they'll send it to their duo partner, the duo partner listens and records their part, and so then theoretically they should be synced. So once I get those videos, then I can edit them and put them and make them look really nice as you are seeing. And it's a cool project, and I think in the future what I will do is actually have the students involved in the editing process as well, because as a musician it's great to have this tool and be able to do this. So moving on, we're getting close to the end of our Barret etudes, but we do have more, so it's not just Barret etudes today. We're going to go ahead and introduce 2 people you have not seen yet, and that's Josh Taylor, who is a senior flute performance major, but also has been studying as a secondary instrument oboe, and he also is just a woodwind doubler. He's great at it. And also Zach Lynn, who is a junior bassoon performance major, and they are performing for you Barret Melody number 7. All right. You might be wondering kind of how I chose to put these groups together, how they chose the etudes and that sort of thing. And when it comes to this sort of stuff, I like to put that in the students' hands. I like them to have a sense of ownership in what they're doing. And so I basically told them, you're going to put yourself into groups of 2. And so they quickly did that, and I said, you need to choose an etude or 2 from the 40 etudes, and I said probably between 1 and I think 8 or maybe 10 are probably the easiest to do, but any are free reign for you to try. And so within about 3 or 4 days, they had figured this out and started working on their part of the project. So this next one, we're introducing one person we have not seen yet, and that is sophomore music ed student Lynnley Dodd, and she is going to be performing with Sergio, doing Barret Etude number 9. All right, so that is definitely longer of the melodies, and a little bit of a peppier one as well. So we're nearing the end. We have one more Barret that we have for you, but before we go to the Barret, I would love to just remind everyone, I think some people have heard about this announcement, but the summer oboe camp, as we know it typically, has actually been canceled, but there is still something happening, and I'll put the flyer up here so you can see. It is our first virtual summer double reed camp. It's going to be held essentially the same time. It's essentially 1 day less. It's free. Normally for the summer oboe camp, there's a little bit of a fee to cover housing and food and that sort of thing, but this is completely free. It's mostly for junior high and high school students, but we're not going to turn anyone away, so please come. Preference for playing in the master classes will go to those age leveled, but we want everyone to participate. We have two fantastic guest artists. For oboe, we have Sarah Roper, who plays in the orchestra in Seville, Spain. And the cool thing about this being virtual is we can have anyone from anywhere in the world. That's what I love about this. And then we have bassoonist Frank Morelli, who plays with Orpheus Chamber Orchestra and teaches at a number of schools in the Northeast. And I'm super excited to bring them in. I will be teaching, as well as Dr. Clark will be teaching, and it's going to be, I think, a really awesome time this summer to learn about your instrument, oboe or bassoon, even when you can't be in the same room with all these people. So it's an awesome opportunity, and I definitely would love for anyone to spread the word to any young oboists or bassoonists that you may know. So we're going to go to our final Barret etude, which is Barret number 10. And we're bringing back Josh and Zach, and enjoy it. All right, so like I said, that was the end of the Barret duo melodies, but there is more, so don't go away. We're not finished. I have got some questions of people asking, are you actually live? And yes, I'm actually live, so if you have some comments or something you want to tell me, I'm happy to read them and comment and answer about them. So please do put your comments in. If you have any, and I will certainly answer them live, because I very much am live right now. So moving on, we do have a couple more video performances to show. The next one is actually for bassoon and piano. So, you know, I talked about the fact that I gave my students the option. They could continue with piano, their piece that they were learning with piano, to perform that, or we could do this collaborative project, and most of them wanted to do that. Zach, on the other hand, wanted to do both, and so we looked through his repertoire that he had been working on to find something that would work within these kind of constraints, because if you have something that's starting and stopping a lot between the two parts, it makes it difficult to record in these kind of situations. So we chose the Tonsman Suite for bassoon, and it's the third movement, which is the scherzo. And we're going to invite to the stage one of our collaborative pianists at A State, Hunter Mabry. Isn't that just a fun piece? I love Tonsman. As an oboist, I don't really have that much repertoire. I have some chamber repertoire, but nothing as awesome as this suite for bassoon and piano. So I am going to turn the camera to someone who submitted a video for me that is for the students, for all the students that put a lot of work into this project. A video was submitted that I wanted to play for them. So please enjoy this guest speaker.
Kelly Dampus here, Chancellor, Arkansas State University, and I'm playing for you the only song I know on the piano, and that's the theme song from Hill Street Blues. Back in the 1980s, that was my favorite TV show, and a friend of mine taught me that song, and it's just one of those things that's stuck with me over the years. It's really the only song I know how to play on the piano, and every chance I get in front of the piano and lick that little part out there. And my wife, who's a very accomplished piano player and piano teacher, always makes fun of me that that's the only song I know, but it is what it is. And so, but it brings back a lot of great memories about learning how to play that. She and I would sit in front of that piano and practice all evening long. I would work on those chords forever. And what seemed really simple to her seemed incredibly hard to me. But that practice, those years of weeks and weeks of practice with her and playing it over and over again over the years has made me at least a little bit better over time. I haven't played it for a long time. I haven't actually done that for probably 2 or 3 years since I played that for the last time, but it still comes back to you. It's almost like riding a bike. And so anyways, I've been really impressed by everyone in the music department, how hard they've been working to manage with our all online teaching. In the fine arts, that's very difficult to do. And so one of the things I thought was really great was our faculty creating this thing called Pack Practice and having our students practice and then show their practicing on social media using the hashtag Pack Practice. And it inspired Beth and me to do a couple of those. She's played the piano and she's sang a bit, and she's played the flute and some other things, and I guess she's going to break the piccolo out sometime this week maybe as well. And I played the guitar one time. It was not much of a performance, but it's just fun trying to encourage people to continue on with their studies and with their practicing. I know that you all are participating in something called the Double Reed Studio Recital, and how great would it be for us to be able to be together to hear it and to see it, because music is not just about hearing, but it's actually seeing it performed. There's something special about seeing it performed. And I'm so proud of you, Professor, who has brought this opportunity to use her technological skills to bring us all together so we can not just listen to you play, but also see you play as well. And so hang in there, everybody. I know this is really tough for everyone. These are tough days for our students and our faculty and staff alike. But you are inspiring us by continuing to sally forward, to carry on, and to continue to do the best you can in a tough situation. So congratulations and on all your hard practice. I'm looking forward tonight to watching your performance in your recital. All right, I gotta get back to work here. I might try to put the foot pedal in here as well, see if I can get that going. So here we go, Hill Street Blues. That's the hard part. All right, everybody, wolves up.
How about that for a guest speaker? I was excited to have him join in, have Dr. Kelly Danfus join in on our studio recital. I knew he would want to be a part, and the fact that he actually performed, even better. And Hill Street Blues, why not? So our final piece that we have today is a double reed ensemble piece. This semester, with all of its uniqueness, actually gave me the opportunity to have a double reed ensemble. But the double reed ensemble was a little unique. In studio class, we had 1 oboe and we had 4 bassoons. And so initially I said, there can't possibly be anything for that combination. But I was wrong. There were at least 2 that I found at Trevco, where I look for music quite a bit. And of the 2, we chose the Bach Gounod Ave Maria to feature for this. And you'll notice that there are actually 5 bassoons, and that's because there's actually an optional contrapart. Now, one specific bassoonist, Lynnley Dodd, had never played contrabassoon before. And I told her, I said, this could be your contra debut. So we moved her to contra, which left the 3rd bassoon part open, which they gave me. So you get to hear me playing bassoon. I apologize, but you won't really hear me. You'll hear the melody part more, which is Sergio. So enjoy Bach Gounod's Ave Maria. hope everyone's enjoyed themselves. I have what has become kind of the de facto oboe studio mascot. This is Tiger Lily. She's been enjoying the entire recital. So I hope this has been a nice evening, short little concert for you to enjoy while you had a snack and were just hanging out on your couch. I sure had a fun time putting it together with my students. I think my students enjoyed kind of the value of everything that they learned, and just being able to make some more music. So we have one final thing for you, and I will say good night.
Thanks for watching.